All right, happy Tuesday. What an interesting day. Very slow, boring price action. Waited an hour and 20 minutes for my trade to set up and just waiting for those solid setups that I can find, and it paid out today. So we're gonna go and recap that trade. This was done on my 20 50k Apex funded accounts. You can use code TBM for 80% off right now. And of course, these trades happen on my live stream, which is on my main channel, Trades by Matt. Let's go and dive into today's recap. Yo, good morning. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. And we had retail sales at 7:30. We got Fed Logan speaking at 9. Housing market index at 9. Bonds at noon. That might be kind of interesting. Movement, maybe. We'll see. But the big thing is tomorrow. FOMC statement and rate decision and press conference with Bal. That's the big ones tomorrow. So we'll see what today does, since tomorrow is the big one. Everybody is anticipating a rate cut, I think. So it'll be really interesting to see how we react either way. Because it's like, if everybody's expecting us to rate cut, do we sell off of that? I don't know. If we don't rate cut, what happens then? Priced in, baby. Yeah, I think I naturally gear that way. Naturally gear towards thinking it's priced in, but who knows? We got a minute till the market opens up here. We had a nice little push on the overnight session so far, up 0.6% on the overnight. Rolling off of the overnight highs a little bit at 820s, magical 20s, little 20 to 80 rotation here, coming into the open. We got VWAP at 480. Yesterday's value area high 680. So I think if we, if we lose 740 VWAP, watching yesterday's value area high, yesterday's point of control, which is also yesterday's close, 660 to 680 looks pretty interesting as a spot, which is what, 130 points lower or something like that. But if we go push 820s, upside seems nice, and potentially, a very aggressive move, 900s into, 20Ks maybe on the volume. We'll see what happens there. I was talking about this day with Dave yesterday. Curious to know whether the 30% IB breaks are better for the breakout trade or not. From my observation, the 30% seems to be more violent. Oh, interesting. So that's when it breaks out, the one that sets first. Yeah, so like yesterday we had IBL set first, and then we rotated all the way back down to IBL, and then we snapped through it pretty hard. Yeah, interesting concept. I'll have to think more about that. Unfortunately, it's kind of one of those ones where I feel like we just have to watch it. Feels like there's not enough significance to make that kind of a statement. Well, like, if you think about the reasoning why, it kind of does make sense. Like, think about the reasoning on why it would be a more aggressive breakout. Or at least this is my, off the top of my head reasoning. We make IBL first, and then we push all the way up to IBH, right? And then if we go and we cannot make a new IBH after it's formed, right? We can't go break through it after it's formed, and instead it rotates all the way back to IBL. It's probably a fairly aggressive move to the downside. So a sweep of it does make sense to be super aggressive. Like, it had to rotate. Most likely, it had to rotate a pretty long way in order to get back down there. And if it's rotating that hard, there's probably enough people to really push it. I don't know. That's just like the thought that's off the top of my head. The theory is that it'll break through whichever way it formed first. No. It's not a theory. It's the stats that we're currently working with is 70% of the time it breaks through the opposite way of whatever it formed first. 30%, which would mean 30% of the time ish, it would break through whichever way it ended up forming first. And the one that it's forming first, that 30%, is the one that we're talking about it being a little bit more of an aggressive breakthrough. I like the concept. I think it makes sense. All right, nice slap. We got a wick test. It's kind of in the middle of the range here. If it goes to 27 first, I'm not gonna have it up there. I am kind of interested in that. 68 to 40 points, something like that. VWAP in this wick, where the green line algo is, makes sense to reject. We'll see if we push it up or not. I'm gonna start watching Delta a little bit more as well. I think we're in a spot where it kind of makes sense to start keeping an eye on it again. After rollover, now that we have volume. I'll leave this up for one more minute. If I don't get filled in the next 50 seconds, I'll take the order off. I don't enjoy wick tests in the last couple of minutes of a candle. And if we make new lows here, then I'll take it off as well. Again, doesn't make sense. All right, no fill on the wick test. That's fine. On to the next. Wick test was scary to me. Ballsy. I don't know. Not to me, really. Not in this specific case, because we have like this 1 minute, like we are making higher lows and we are making lower lows. So if we push back up, I felt okay with us kind of rolling over where it was. It just didn't happen. The wick tests that are super scary to me are the ones where like we failed to sweep the lows or anything like that, and it's like a straight sideways sort of action. I'm not a fan of that. Could we have sucked back into point of control? Yeah, for sure. But you can always do a lot of different things. Yeah, the green line algo. That's what I talked about. This untested wick right here. With VWAP is it was a good spot to roll over. It's exactly what it did too. For 50 points, not bad. Press the thumbs up button down below. I got a dad joke to read out. There it is. There we go. Dad joke of the day. We're pushing them through VWAP as well. Back into that kind of an untested wick, I guess now. It's not a true wick test anymore, but back into that untested wick. September 17th, Tuesday, I was researching about atheism. Turns out it's a non-profit organization. Feels hurts when it pumps overnight. Dude, I haven't seen this in a while, but there was like a little stretch of I felt like months. Someone in the chat's probably going to remember what I'm talking about and provide a little bit more clarity than I can provide. But there was a time, and I feel like it was a couple months long, and I feel like it was right after COVID. I think. I'm not positive on that. Where the entire move of the day happened at between like 3 a.m. and market open. And you'd either be up or down a percentage point, and then it would go fully flat. Literally fully flat for the rest of the session. Zero movement. And I'm talking like good moves, very solid moves from 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning all the way until 8 a.m. And then once the market opened up, it just died. Oh man, it was horrible. That was terrible. That made me hate it, man. At least now we still have movement. Like we've still had, 120 points top to bottom here. Everything's moving. It's all good. We had a little bit of overnight pump, obviously, but that was literally, I can't describe it. I can barely even describe how terrible it was because it was so flat. It would literally have the entire day move and then just do nothing at all. Delta's looking decent on this move. This is good to see, by the way. It's good to see after rollover that like Delta's actually doing what you would kind of expect with price, right? Kind of shows that we're back on track. Bounced off value area low for the current session, making its way back up to value area high, red to green rotation. 5 minutes, 4.5 minutes till initial balance is formed. We're 20 points away from it. At this point, I mean, if we close out right here, we're teeing up for what we talked about at the beginning, which is if initial balance, like the first initial balance is what gets tapped first, then the breakout would be, in theory, kind of aggressive. We'll be watching for that. Market's so boring. I've been trying to figure out today's Wordle and can't. It's starting to piss me off. Wordle is like, I didn't know people still played Wordle, to be honest. And, man, I'm pretty terrible at it. Let's see if we do anything here. I mean, it's bottom of the range. Kind of think we snap back up into it, but I just don't want to trade the middle of the range in VWAP. I just don't like that. Oh, I thought for a second, man. Why is the only word I can think of beans? There's VWAP, middle of the range. See if we come out of it. I'm literally so not interested in trading VWAP here. And middle of the range. Is beefy a word? B-E-A-F-Y? The only words I can think of are like plural. Beets. Beans. There's no S. There's got to be a Y. maybe. Beady? I don't really know if that's a word either. It doesn't really sound like a word, but I like getting rid of the Y if possible. Beert? I can't think of anything else that would go before a T. Butte? B-E... Did I use you? Butte. I want you all to know that I had the chat turned off that entire time. Yeah, right? No, I swear I did. I truly did. Wow, we even had a little wick test there. Glad I didn't take that one so far. But at the top of the range, it's kind of like a low-risk trade, to be honest. I mean, at 800, the wick test is at 807. It's like 7 points off. It's kind of cheap, to be honest. But I just kind of feel like we popped this. Bunch of caps. All right, get out of here. I on my honor, I did not look at, because I just knew y'all were gonna spoil it. Not miss the trade because of Wordle? No, I didn't miss the trade yet. As of right now, the wick test is not paying. I just really like the idea of us bouncing VWAP. It's just such a questionable trade there, but I love the idea of us actually bouncing VWAP and then running all this crap. 30% breakout situation? Yeah, in theory. If we get up there. I mean, we are pinned at 800 for an hour. We're close to it. 40 minutes. The connections is also fun and not really spoilable. What is connections? All right, I'm about to pull this up, but let it be known that I am incredibly interested in a breakout of IBH. And I will play a breakout of IBH if I see one. Create 4 groups of 4. Oh, it's happening. All right, I'm filled. I'm gonna go and move that break even. I missed it by 3 ticks earlier. Let's see if we get the full fill here. Seems like there's a lot of liquidity higher. I think it wants it. Nice. Waited a while for that one. $400 across 20 accounts. That's $7,920.40 after commissions. Definitely worth front running. Yeah. I did front run IB there. And the reasoning, I put it right over this wick. If you notice, I put it right on top of this wick. In my mind, this is a pretty clean move, and I thought I was going to get slipped to hell, to be honest. I didn't really get slipped to hell. I think the people that had it at actual IB, I think they got slipped pretty bad. But yeah, I think I took maybe a point of slippage. But I thought if we break out of this, odds of us stopping right in this zone, I think in the 20s was fairly high. But if we break out of this wick right here at 25, I think the clean run into IB is looking good. I'm not in a spot where I need this retest on these accounts right now, so I'm not going to. Exclamation point 400. 400 is good for me on these accounts. To where like I don't really want to push it super hard on this wick. But nice little retest. I mean, grabbing both of those is pretty sick, right? And that's 10 points right there.